right. Part 2 of my stream schedule today. I had to get that other stream out of the way because, as I always tell content creators, if you take a contract, fulfill the contract. If you get a game key, actually review the game. Even if you don't want to review the game, even if the world kind of explodes around you, always give the sponsor at the bare minimum to the contract of what you agree to. The reason why is it helps you and your reputation in the long run, but it also helps all of us. There are a lot of really good websites, Hoovit being one of them, that went out of business because they weren't economically viable. And remember, there are a few rare occasions where a company might go out of business even when they're economically viable for whatever goofy reason. But for the most part, when a company goes out of business, it's because they're no longer economically viable. There's no money to be made. Well, part of the problem is a lot of these key sites, they give creators keys, which costs the company money, and then the creator doesn't actually deliver on the product. Well, that's terrible. That's an absolutely horrible situation to be in. With that said, I did not get a chance to get back into game yesterday. That's not the right one. I spent all evening working on what was I working on? I was working on a website. I needed to get a website done. I actually got the Chrono Odyssey article written. What I've decided I'm going to do, because I spent the better part of last year being sick and mulling it around in my head. What am I going to do for content? What I've decided I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to write articles. Yeah, that's not going to work. That's going to tank everything. I'm going to write articles, and then from the articles, I'm going to generate the video content. Because I would rather do an article every day on something, content creation, politics, a video game. I would rather do that and then try to turn some of that content into video game or video content. Versus constantly struggling with videos. And I've realized I'm not a very good video maker. We all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses. I acknowledge mine. I'm not a very good video maker. I'm a really good idea person, but I'm about as entertaining as watching paint dry. Because I'm not there, it's like that Pink song. I'm not here for your entertainment. I'm not here for your entertainment. I'm here for your education. And education usually works really, really well when you're required to be there. So I don't have to be entertaining because you're a captive audience. It's like I used to tell the lieutenants, because they had to sit with me for ethics. And I used to say, like, look, I apologize that I'm as boring as watching paint dry, but you're a captive audience. With that said, I was pleasantly surprised that when I put out the article, I put it out on Reddit, MMORPG, Tumblr, I put it out on my Patreon. What I was pleasantly surprised about is that even on MMORPG and Reddit, which I've come to expect to be toxic waste holes, nobody jumped my opinion on my article. And and please forgive paradoxgaming.net. It's not its fault that it's so ugly looking. It's my fault. But I posted this in a couple of places, and I didn't immediately get the knee-jerk reaction from the Action Combat fans of, if you're not a fan of Action Combat, get out of the game. Well, I'm not a fan of Action Combat. There's literally a part in the article where I say I am not qualified to talk on the biggest problem in the game. Oh, well, I polymorphed into something. I'm not qualified to talk on the biggest problem that people were commenting on was the combat. I'm not qualified to do that. I mean, I'm sure everybody be like, well, you're entitled to have an opinion, and I do have an opinion. I think that the combat in Chrono Odyssey is about as smooth as a 15-year-old who just got their learner's permit and is double clutching, grinding gears on grandma's Chevrolet. I don't think the combat is buttery smooth. I just did a 2-hour review of Dynasty Legends 2, and it's kind of sad. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not. But it's kind of sad that a mobile phone game had more buttery and more smooth on their combat than Chrono Odyssey does. And I know some people are going to be like, I can't, how dare you? How dare you say that? What do you want me to say? It's how I feel. I don't think the combat in Chrono Odyssey is buttery smooth yet. And by saying, I'm not saying and realize what I'm saying. I'm not saying the company sucks. I'm not saying they're scrubs. I'm not saying they're terrible. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm just saying I don't think the combat is buttery smooth yet. And it's like the important part of feedback. I can just say, I'm not qualified to talk about it. I don't think it's buttery smooth. I think it's grindy. I think it's janky. I think it's like somebody who doesn't know how to pop the clutch. And if I say that, the developer can look at it and they can say, I wonder what changes we need to make. Or I wonder what changes we should make. Or I wonder what changes we could make. Is there anything at this junction? Are we in a state right now where there's anything we could do to make the game play better, look better, feel better? Like, and you notice, if you read the article, I left some feedback and I said they would benefit greatly from spending a couple of hours, having one person spend a couple of hours, play through the game, and just make a couple of small changes in the dialogue. Like, come back and see me when you're mining level 2. I don't have any pickaxes to sell you, but the general merchant in town does. Okay. So now at least people are like, well, you should know that. Well, you're right. And I'm not denying, I should know that. But in a lot of games, the person telling you to go do something sells you the item or gives you the item. Hi, Broken Farmer. Hi, Broken Farmer Ray. Hey, guys. So, I think the really important piece here is when you start Chrono Odyssey, you're disconjointed with the world. And because you're disconjointed with the world, you have to fight to stay interested. And if you have to fight to stay interested, then we're gonna have a little bit of a problem. Because say you're coming from another game. It doesn't matter what game you're coming from. Say you're coming from WoW, or you're coming from BDO, or you're coming from Final Fantasy. If you have to fight tooth and nail to feel integrated into the game, you're not very likely to stick with that. But if they grab you from the word go, and if you read that article, I was rushing through my work last night. I debugged the banner that wasn't working, and then I started writing the article, and writing the article took me a little bit. And then the night's getting away from me. But and then I screwed up. If anybody wants to get a quick laugh at me, I highlighted a section of the CSS for the new website, and I must have inadvertently hit my thumb trigger, which my thumb trigger is the number 4. So I removed about 1,000 lines of necessary CSS code, and I replaced it with a 4. And so then I had to stop, and I had to go back to the first page and rewrite all the CSS. The saddest part is I was highlighting it and copying, pasting it to put it into the backup file. So yeah, I lost 2 hours of time last night cleaning up a dumb fuck. So now the benefit is, having done that, I then made it better. And I also I thank this individual often, but I want to give a shout out to Zetrix. Zetrix taught me so much about web design, because now I understand the value of a good JSON file and then a good CSS file, like an automatic generating article page. Because then if I want to make a change on the article page, I make a change on the article page, and 5 articles, 10 articles, 50 articles, 100 articles all get changed. Like, for example, not that I'm a big fan of advertising, but I am a big fan of money, for the company, not for me. If somebody came along and they said, hey, how much would it cost me to put an advert on your website? And they pay me, I now don't have to touch 75 pages. I touch one, boom, the advert's there. So I think in that regard, I'm pretty happy about it. I'm happy with what I've been able to cobble together. Now, I made the joke yesterday. I would love to get to the point where I was making like Asmongold level money on Twitch, or we'll say Twitch, so that I could just be like, hey, Rel, I dumped a bunch of money into the web development fund. Find a web developer. Here's the list of things that I want to see changed. Hire a person that can do all these things. And he'd be like, it'll be done by the end of the week. I will properly motivate the workers. The workers will be on it. Let's see, gold, titanium, platinum. Okay, we need to find this storage. Yeah, we've got this very new world. Oh, I can take off the camera blur on this page. Nope, we're not gonna play nice with the other children today. Fishing sucks. I'll look at fishing and give you my opinion. We've got this very New World style interface. Obviously, making an interface isn't gonna be sexy. An interface is never going to be sexy. Why? I'm not a big fan of this style of interface. Question is, can we craft from our warehouse, or do we have to come back and then pick up the stuff into our bag and then take it to the crafting place. Because I have a feeling we have to pick up the stuff out of our bag and take it back to the crafting place based on what I've seen. We have a warehouse? Yeah, we have a warehouse. So you don't fucking know. He's like, I don't know. What the fuck? What the fuck's a warehouse? Let me find out. You just have a bag full of shit? Oh, it looks like we can craft from the warehouse. I think this is another issue that I'm gonna have. Let me see. Oh, maybe not. Stamina recovery, crit damage boost, damage boost. We're gonna make the beastly rapier because it's a damage boost. And right now, oh no, we're gonna make the Kaltian rapier because that's the damage boost. So we'll make one of you. And then for the bow, I still have to go and find regular leather. Okay, I'm feeling good about myself now. I've got a better weapon. I've got a better weapon. Where is the disassembly guy? Processing, weapon crafting, armor, cook, alchemy, table keeper. Where the fuck is he? Equipment salvager. Or the gear is low level, so don't be like me and make a set of blue gear you can't use. Oh, you derped that. Don't derp that. Don't make that mistake. What's up, Dram? I don't know how any of the things that I just crushed would be give me a stone, but whatever. Doing some writing today and organizing my notes and lore. Hey, if you're doing a lot of organizational stuff like that, what you should do is you should get ChatGPT. I'm not sponsored by ChatGPT, but you should get ChatGPT because what you can do is you can create a different project in ChatGPT. Have I tried it? Yes, I use it all. I use ChatGPT now all the time because I can give ChatGPT files and it manages for them. It manages them for me, and it is a very nice amount of usability for $20 a month. It also helps me with, as you guys can imagine, a really, really large problem of mine. Yeah, can it follow your style of organization and writing? Yes. For the novel I'm writing, which I haven't worked on for a couple of months since I got sick again, but one of the projects inside of my novel is my own language. And so with ChatGPT, I'm like, hey, we're gonna make an entire language. And it's like, okay. And we have our own language. You can do ChatGPT if you're leveraging it more than like an old person just having it do Google searches for you. And shut up, that's what I use ChatGPT for the first couple of months. It is a personal assistant of like an amazing high order. You get, I think, 25 deep researches a month, and you can give it like, yeah, post links. Go ahead. All right. My goal is to never have the That's cool. That's cool as shit. Is this all you? Because that's cool as shit. If I wasn't if it wasn't for the fact that I'm streaming vertical, which is kind of taxing. I don't have a I don't have a equivalent vertical screen today for showing web pages. I gotta make that today. But that's amazing, dude. That's awesome. You're getting after it right there. That's that good shit. You're not dying in my cab, you fucking crackhead. I give you this good shit. It's made with plant shit. Fucking movie Crank with Jason Statham cracks me the fuck up. So you got Dram over here. He's got that good shit. It's made with the plant shit. A couple of years from now, I'm gonna be playing some game and there's gonna be some asshole in like glasses and a black t-shirt sitting in his game. Be like, why does this character that's really sarcastic teaching you academic lore? He reminds me of somebody. Would only be even better if the sarcastic lore teacher can't spell for shit. I saw that Chrono Odyssey had like a conniption fit meltdown last night on their servers. I will say I am glad to stop with the PvP shit. I am glad to see that the bits of Chrono Odyssey that looked like it was gonna be a primary mobile game with like all the autoplay features. I haven't been able to find any autoplay anything in Chrono Odyssey. So I think whatever they showed a long time ago and people were like, that's gonna be, I don't think that was the case. That was kind of the case with Throne and Liberty. But when they showed us something a long time ago with Chrono Odyssey, people were like, see right over there. It's like, guys, relax. Let them, you know, do this crazy idea. Like, let them make the game. Let him at least have a chance to prove that they should be hung before we hang them. Like, can we give people the benefit of the doubt for 2 seconds? So, I will say, this game has me excited, intrigued. If I want to organize my thoughts, have you been here? Do you think I ever organize my fucking thoughts? Dude. I will be in the middle of a sentence that is the result of a different sentence that I started, and in the middle of the second thought, I'll be like, ooh, squirrel. No, what's obsidian? Give me like 10 words. Is it, is that what you just showed me? No, that's something else. What's obsidian? Other than a really cool stone. A note-taking app based on Markdown. Okay. Good to know. Also, why is my Discord over there? Copy this so I have it for later. Actually take a look at things with the level of respect that they deserve. So I will say this. I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad that they've worked on the standard Z-axis issue. That there is in games, because I will say that being able to be an archer, be on top of things that the mobs can't navigate, and then do that, get 5 or 6 or 8 levels. I'm glad that there's a range on the weapons. A lot of games, I'd be able to hit the mob from all the, well, I can kind of. But a lot of games I'd be able to unrestrictedly stand up on a cliff and go to town. Oh, we're gonna die. We're gonna die with it. 14 hit points. Run! Yeah, somebody was laughing at my review. They said, you think the first boss is bad? Wait till you get to the second one. And I was like, but I don't want to get to the second one, if that's what you're saying. No, thank you. $18.67. About 53 XP, give or take. Some of these mobs just these mobs like mollywop you, which is okay. I mean, I'm not upset about the level of difficulty. What I'm upset about is I'm upset at myself, because it's been years and years and years since trash in a game have been a threat. So I know I've gotten a little disrespectful towards the threats in the world in games, because I'm like, oh, what's that mob gonna do to me? It's a trash mob. I like this level of threat in the world. I like the fact that it's not just LOL, the trash is so random, you can just disregard it Like, you can disrespect the trash because the world's not threatening. The fact that that is a zombie that is got no legs and is attacking. You don't like how the trash mobs feel on WoW? No. Like, WoW, Final Fantasy 14, Arcade used to always be the same thing. Like, go away, stupid thing. You're just an annoyance. You're not even a challenge. Just, you're a stupid thing. Go away. Like, I used to make the joke that the most annoying thing about the trash mobs in Arcade were that they'd knock you off your horse. Like, they had no chance of killing you. And again, this is one of those... I know it would be difficult for a game developer, but if they got it just right, it would change the dynamic of not just their game, but most games. I'm not saying like these guys, because these guys, these are mindless trash. They're zombies. But imagine if like intelligent mobs would respond with not only no aggro behavior, but retreating behavior. Like, I come into this field and instead of these zombies, there's like kobolds here. And they take a look at me and they're like, run away. Like, literally watch the AI all run back to a village or a hole in the ground or whatever else have you. That, I think, would be an amazing dynamic. Where the NPC trash mobs of a sufficient intelligence were like, no, survivability is important. Because then that brings me to that other idea that I had, where you've got a center of civilization. Like, you've got this encampment right here. What would be interesting is if those weren't mindless zombies, or they could be mindless zombies. But imagine if the mindless zombie count doesn't get the mindless zombie quantity doesn't get culled for several hours. And by several hours, I don't mean like in the confines of one day. It could be 30 hours. And don't have it be a forward-facing number. And don't even have it be a publicly accessible number. But if the number of zombies doesn't get curbed, then a necromancer moves in. And then if that necromancer is allowed to stay for X amount of time, then this place comes under attack. And then you get a little thing, the frontier outpost is being assaulted, and you're like, wait a minute. It's like you read my GDD. Yeah, I think I've seen your GDD at one point, but a lot of these ideas, I've had these ideas for 20 some odd years with the, from tabletop. Because this is how I used to do when I ran my LARP. People were allowed to do things in downtime. Oh, that's why I ran around. And didn't have any good gear. You're supposed to do the quest down here first. I used to have threats in my LARP that people could deal with in downtime. And if they didn't deal with them in downtime, the strength of what was coming to the game was more potent. Developers won't implement them because they're time consuming. It's not... I don't believe that developers won't implement them because they're time consuming. I believe developers won't implement cool things because why would they? It's not that they're time consuming. They are time consuming, but it's that they have an associated monetary cost. And if I can spend $1 and make 10, or spend 5 and make 11, it doesn't make a lot of sense to spend 5 to make 11 if I can spend 1 and make 10. And until gamers say, yeah, your game is good, but it's not really bringing anything new to the table, we're not gonna have innovation, because there's no need for it. Like, personally, it's one of my favorite games, but Cyberpunk 2077, other than the good story, there was nothing really, oh my god, what the fuck barbecue chicken amazing about Cyberpunk 2077. It didn't take shooters to some new, unfound territory. Chrono Odyssey, so far, there's a lot of things I enjoy about it. But I don't know if those things are going to be enough to carry it. And what I mean is, the world is difficult. The world, I don't like the word feels, because it is overused. The world is engaging. The difficulty level is rewarding. Yes, I have died more times in Chrono Odyssey in the 4-hour play session I did yesterday. I died more times than I've died in months in other MMOs. In months. But that makes it feel like each little thing that I accomplish is meaningful then. Like, I felt pride, joy, fulfillment when I finished my gear set yesterday. Didn't help me in the slightest. Finished my gear set, went out into the world, and the only thing is that instead of getting planted in 3 seconds, I got planted in 6 seconds. But I was still getting planted. But it was the first time in a long time where I was like, you know what? That was somewhat... Oh, see? That's a combination of friends that I don't want to play with. It's like we started our 10th season since the live servers of Manibus and Once Human. And yeah, because I streamed this yesterday and then I got busy with the website, I haven't logged into Once Human since Thursday night when I logged out. And after this stream, I got to get over there and I got to work on some stuff over there, and I can't work on the website again until this evening anyway. Because I gotta stream, I gotta take a walk, I gotta do some cleaning. That's why tomorrow is, I've as much as I would love to stream, as much as I would love to be Asmongold, where he said, and I really admired his one clip, he said, all he wants to do is play video games. That's what he wants to do. And I was like, you know what, man? I respect that. Because you're doing the thing that you love. I respect it. I unfortunately can't do that. Because I got, I have to cook dinner. I died. That's pretty rough still. You would love to be able to work on your game 24/7. Right, you would love to be able to work on your game 24/7. Oh, hey, there's more quests. See, what's going on? Are you with the frontier? Please listen, I beg of you. The grief, I can't bear it any longer. I had a younger brother. We ran a small business, but those damn defectors started robbing us. He wanted to fight. He was brave, too brave. Word must have spread. They killed him. They cut up my brother's face and collected its parts. Even after they were gone, I couldn't move from fear. No doubt they're still looking in the lighthouse. Time to kill some people. All the way over there. Okay, so he's indicating that I've hit a high enough level that I should be moving to the next zone. But I'm not going to do that yet. But no, I would love to have more time in the day to work on things. And unfortunately, if something has to go, video game time has to go. But it's also like, if I play Once Human this afternoon, just to, you know, collect from deviations, get things going, get water going, etc. What am I really accomplishing? Is there a stuck or an unstuck? Not that I know of. Not that I've seen. Nope, didn't want to mind that. I do want to butcher this. I'm looking for regular leather. Well, I'm still getting only thin rawhide. So this is another small critique that not everybody may. It may not even be relevant. Let me start off with, it may not even be relevant. But I could already make a level 5 rapier. But I'm not able to find what I need to make a level 5 bow. So, and it might just be as simple as I'm one mob away from finding it. But all of your classes should be able to progress their gear at the same rate, at the same pace. If one class can progress faster than another, that's probably problematic. No, for my bow, it's leather. That's the problem. It's not the lower level, it's the next tier. I need the next tier up for, like, it's not thin rawhide that I need regular rawhide or something else to scaly something. So I have my better rapier, but now I'm forced to my rapier if I want to have more damage capability. Butchering, level 2. Oh, there was pelt. That might have been that. No, I think it was, yeah, that might have been it. So then in that case, maybe it's simply because I didn't have butchery level 2. One thing that I feel, I don't know how to say it, but let's say crappy about, is that I used AI to generate some character reference based on my descriptions, but I really wanted to see how they would look, and I'm not an artist, and I don't have the money or time to hire someone. Well, let me say this to you, right? You shouldn't feel crappy about that at all. And here's why. I would love to say that even the level of concept art should be done by a human. Because there are people whose entire job is that they are
I loathe these heights.
concept artists. With that said, I'm sure that if you sold 700,000 copies of your game, you would hire concept artists, because it is a lot faster to tell a concept artist, this is what I want, and let the concept artist make it, than it is for you to have to roll through prompts 40 times trying to get what you want. With that said, you need to get yeah, exactly. There's artists that you would love to work with, but you can't afford to work with them. Well, if you can't afford to work with them, then it doesn't matter how much you want to work with them. It's like there were some artists complaining the other day on Twitter. And what they were saying is, gone are the days where I can afford to do emotes for $5 each. I mean, I can respect that. What's up, Supra? I can respect that gone are the days where you can afford to do emotes for $5 each. However, what you have to understand is that if you're not doing emotes for $5 each, and you want $100 each, what makes you think I'm gonna pay that to somebody who's producing results at your level? Like, for example, you want $600 to do a 6-pack of emotes. Okay. And you say you need $600 to do this 6-pack of emotes because that's the only way you're ever going to be able to start doing it full time. Okay. Because you don't have time in your day when you get off of work. Okay. Well, what else do you do at night? Well, I get home and I make dinner and I game and I stream. Oh, so hold on a second. You want me to pay top dollar for your dream, but then I can go to a professional studio and I can get this work done by a professional studio for $300. And they're like, yeah, well, see, that's the problem. I would be able to do it for cheaper if it was my full-time job. But it's not my full-time job. I have to go to a normal job, and then I'm trying to do this in my spare time. No, it sounds like you're trying to do too many things in your spare time. You're trying to hustle and have a personal life. And if you're not quite sure how life works, when you're hustling, you don't have fun time. That's why it's called the hustle. You sacrifice the hustle to have, or you sacrifice the fun time to have the hustle. And when your hustling is over and you've made it, then you have a lot more money to enjoy the fun time. Do the hustle. Exactly. Do the hustle. And I get it, and I'm not trying to be dismissive of people who are trying to make it. I'm not, because I've been there and I have hustled. I have worked the 2 jobs. I have not hung out with my fiance for 6 or 7 or 8 weekends in a row because I bought a fixer-upper house, because I sold my nice house, because I wanted the value of the money of the nice house to invest in my businesses. But I didn't want to come home from work every night feeling sorry for myself where I lived, so I dedicated time to making building a home. And that's called sacrifice. If you're not willing to do that, and I'm not saying that you should only charge $5 per emote, but what I'm saying is once you get the base character face down on the emote, is every other emote a complete unique work, or are you modifying what you've already kind of built? Because if the first one takes you an hour and the other 5 take you 10 minutes, well then don't expect people to be on board with you wanting all this money, because they're gonna be like, no, not in the realm of reality. And then that's what that's what the trick to being a professional at it is. And I'm not doubting. I mean, like, if you were getting paid just to do art every day, you'd probably be able to make a lot of art, without a doubt. But you got to get there. Light witch's hat. Is there a reason why I can't open this? It would be nice if it would tell me why I can't open this. Like, you don't have the right key. Is the game any good? Yes. The game is good. The game has good bones, decent teeth, fair skin. The game's difficulty level is part of its charm. So there is some goodness to the game. With that said, you're gonna need to ask somebody who's an action combat player to give you their opinion on the combat. I don't think the combat is very good, but I also am not an action combat player, so I'm never gonna really think any action combat is good. I know people will shoot me when I say this, but I think this game could have absolutely done better if it had been tab. As I said earlier, Dynasty Legends 2, which is a phone game port, in my opinion, had smoother combat than this is. So you have a phone game that had smoother combat. Now, I am absolutely willing to accept that it is highly likely that it is my low skill level at action combat that makes me not enjoy the combat. I am 100% fair enough to acknowledge that. Because I'm not an action combat player, I may just not be good at the action combat, and that's fine. That's a fair assessment. With that said, though, I'm not sure I'm not sure everybody would say this is good combat. Part of it is absolutely it is 100% absolutely a growing curve, a learning curve. There is a reason professional artists back in the day needed to seek out patrons and sponsors. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Professional artists back in the day needed to seek out patrons. They needed to be sponsored. It's why Intrepid Studios had a good idea. They had a really, really good idea, and that good idea was we want to have patron guilds. For the question of my first impressions, I dropped a link that's an article on my first impressions if you want like the whole story. Overall, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic about the game because I think overhyping any game is why we've struggled so much lately. Is this the type of game where the real game doesn't start until max level? No, I will not. I will not say that this is it. I'm having a good time soloing and dying and getting planted
Sweet
and getting my
heavens.
teeth kicked in.
Oh,
I'm having a good time with
these
it.
heights.
This is the first time. I don't even know when the last game I played where the trash mobs were a challenge. Maybe Revelation Online? Maybe? Crossbow gameplay feels much better than bow. Hey dude, I really love the energy you positively put in your stream. It's massively inspirational. Hey, I appreciate that. I do try. I do try to bring the positivity. I'm not always successful at bringing the positivity. Okay, so this is that problem that I was talking about, this vertical axis problem. So like, I've talked to a couple of devs about this particular problem. If the mob hasn't been able to damage you in X amount of time, then the mob should go immune. So that mob hadn't been able to hit me for 10 seconds, 12 seconds. So the mob should just go immune until I get off of a different Z-axis. Or the other alternative is that the game has to do a check, and that if I'm at a different vertical axis, then I can't damage the mob, it can't damage me. Holy balls, Jay on a new MMO. What did you do with my streamer? Who put you up to this? Was it Grumpy Old Man? Who's to blame? Chrono Odyssey, if you remember, was a game that I first covered a couple of years ago. I first said, hey, we've got this new Unreal Engine 5 MMORPG in development, and it was a good time. I'm excited to see developers reaching out into new things. I think that, not to be hurtful, but I think we need to face the reality. So fate brought us together, with I humiliated all the same. Perhaps this too is the will of Kronos. Please, I beg you, I would hold on to your legs if I could, but these bars make an impossibility. See you, my desperation. The word is I'm to be fed to the hounds. But before I confront this gruesome fate, I've made a major discovery. I know who stole my precious relic. Yes, relic I mentioned before. It was Bruno, the ringleader of this wretched place. The relic might be worthless to him, but for me it holds the secret of ancient wars. I'm begging you, retrieve it for me. In return, I will bestow upon you a valuable gift. A key to the hidden reaches of Cetera. So, Ashes of Creation was a really, really good starting point for other game developers, because what it did is it proved conceptually that players are looking for fresh, innovative ideas. One of the things I will say that's fresh and innovative about Chrono Odyssey is I am really, really looking forward to beating that dog-faced pug little bastard that's in the place blocking my main story quest, and seeing how the main story quest develops. I'm really fascinated with the idea of shifting back and forth in time. I think that is a novel direction to go with. Having it where you're moving in the same, like, you develop the same one area, and instead of having to develop 3 unique areas for players to play in, you develop one really good one, and then you modify it past, present, and future. That's a great idea. That's a novel, like, we haven't necessarily seen this before. And that doesn't, just because we haven't seen it before doesn't mean it's going to be good. Well, it's certainly better than things we've seen that we know are going to be bad. We don't talk about Bruno. Not mean to go all the way to this end. Hey bro, quick question. How do you erase the background from your actual video when you're streaming like that? Do you have a green screen? I do have a green screen, but I'm not currently using it. Because... Wow, you can't even see it. What you do is you go on get source clone in OBS and put your camera in. I'll show you real quick. So here's my camera, and then when I'm on this screen and I want the background, I just put in my camera. When I come over to my games screen, in OBS, if you have a 20 series graphics card or higher, you go into filters and it's NVIDIA background removal. and it takes care of all of it. In fact, it is so proficient, the filter in OBS. It's better than if I put my green screen up. Because if I put my green screen up, then I have to increase my lighting by about 100%. And then because of the nature of where I'm at, I'm sitting up against the green screen. You see the green against my shoulders. So yeah, it is just a native filter in what is that? What? Oh, okay. Filters. And then you go into OBS, you go into your filters, and then whatever filter you need. You can either do background removal or you can do background blur. You just earned a new subscriber. I just got a new gaming laptop, so I haven't looked into these settings. Slick, what I will tell you is, so that you can get all of the bits and bobs you need. If you find me on Discord, I'm Jalan on Discord, or if you message me in some way, shape, or form, I'm support@paradoxgaming.net. If you message me, I always go out of my way to help new creators. I didn't listen to anybody who was trying to help me in my first couple of years, and I wish I had, because I am the great example of don't do things the way I did, because I went down 290 miles of bad road in order to get a soda from the corner shop around the corner. I did not do things the easy way. So yeah, if you need any help, I'm gonna be setting my content creation assistance channel back up on my Discord now that I'm not dying. And that is literal. I may lose my feet. I may lose my feet, but I'm not dying. That was my fucking doctor's, like, great big fucking motivational speech. He's like, well, you're not dying. Your heart's good. You're not dying. You might lose your feet, though. Hey, I randomly found you on YouTube Live. Yeah, I'm in a lot of places. We gotta tread the waters really carefully, though. You stream also? Yeah. Link up with me offline, and then my community ventures to a lot of other community member streams for a while. For a while there, we had it going on nice for a while, and then I got sick, and then things kind of went sideways for a bit. But no, we like, for example, there's been a couple of times in the past where somebody's wanted to make affiliate before it was hard. I don't know what they've done with Twitch and affiliate. It's Jahlon, Jahlon. Or you can message me through YouTube, or you can message me like 900 different places. But yeah, for a while there, when we were trying to get people were trying to get affiliate, they would say, hey Jay, I'm trying to make affiliate, and I'd be like, yeah, no problem. And we would show up like 10 people deep for all their first couple of days, and then they'd make affiliate. To be frank, of the limbs to lose, take my feet before you touch my hands. My medical power of attorney, my medical directive, prevents treatment if I'm gonna lose both my hands. Yep, that's me. So if I'm gonna lose both my hands, treatment has to stop. Because I'm not living without my hands. Although I am saying, you see that girl with the black cybernetic hands? Technology is going a long way, man. Ah, you've returned. How fare your travels? The pouch that the captain took. Let me see. Not this one nor this. Found it. What is lost is now found. With this, I shall soar above every obstacle hindering my research. Now, will you let me go? You need only rotate the device beside you. I should have a friend request. I will look in one moment. Let's go, man. I shall be off to the stronghold. Defector's key. Yeah, the door was open. Just jump. I think his problem was more that he was afraid of the dog. He was afraid of the pup below him. Yep. Friend request received and accepted. Is there an active block in this? My understanding is that some classes do have an active block. Ranger does not have an active block. Ranger has on bow, we have aim. On rapier, we have lunge. And on crossbow, we have flip in the air. Off to make some coffee before heading into work. Coffee. Coffee, the wonderful brown liquid that allows you to do stupid things more quickly. Counter skill on rapier, 20-second cooldown. Wait, is this thing? Wait, so... Oh, it's a skill? I'm not there yet, then. Second on the left. Oh, counterattack? Blocks an enemy attack. Probably good, probably good. Try reading. Reading is good. In fact, oh, I don't have any points for rapier. Whoa. Well, I'll take that one because it's stun. Yeah, Ranger can't block shit unless you read. Yeah, reading is fundamental. Actually, reading is actually optional in online games. Reading is optional. So, I will say, one thing I'm noticing is that you'll notice that it doesn't tell you exactly where it is. It just says in this area somewhere is the thing that you're looking for. And I really like that. I really enjoy the fact I really enjoy the fact that we have to go back to exploring. It's not just run in, run past the guys. The step back from hand-holding is something we should have gotten from Ashes. I'm not bitter. Yeah. I saw a post yesterday, not to shit on Steven, but that guy needs to stop talking. he needs to stop talking because somebody, Richie SH, posted on Twitter that Steven, he posted two things from Steven, and I was like, man, why are you being condescending? Like, why are you being a condescending fuckhole? And if you can't handle, right, if you can't handle people being derogatory and nasty about your product, then realize you should have never made your product as public as you did. Okay, search for primitive iron ore. If I was primitive iron ore, where would I be? I would have thought I would be in that chest that I couldn't open before, but now I can't open it anyway. Is this New World? No, this is Chrono Odyssey. It looks very much like New World, though. Oh. You were going to make a quest guide for a bunch of my guild for a good starting quest that gives good XP. Drop the project because of the jank. Man, I wouldn't make any content for Ashes of Creation until you are 100% sure that they are past the we're going to scrap it all again and move on. Because they've done that a couple of times now. And I have a feeling Intrepid is going to realize Steven's belief that if you build it, they will come only holds true if you build it, they will come if it's good. Spoilers, it's not there. So, it's not in this area. That's even worse than having... well, I won't say worse. That's even funnier than having, no quest markers. We could give you no quest markers, but instead of no quest markers, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna give you fucking wrong quest markers. They hate us. They hate us now. How much are they gonna hate us when they find out we sending them into the wrong? We sending them to the wrong place altogether. Make a left. Make a right. I'm in fucking Albuquerque. Sucker. Oh, it's in the dungeon? That would make sense. That would make sense that it was in the dungeon. And that, a lot of people don't like, and I do. I don't mind a game that has forced content, forced group content. As long as there's enough solo content, I don't expect to be able to do everything solo. Like, I don't expect to be able to do everything solo. It's nice if I can do enough things solo that, like, say for example, my crew wasn't online. I could either move forward a little bit and start learning the next area, or if I'm the guy that's falling behind, I could try to get XP. Then when my group gets on, I'll be like, hey guys, I caught up everything. All I have left to do is the Blacksmith's Enduring Dream. And then my group will be like, oh yeah, that's that dungeon over there. Some people want to be able to do all the content solo all the time. I don't necessarily think that is healthy. I don't necessarily subscribe to the idea of being able to play an MMORPG completely solo is a good game design. A little bit of stuff, sure. And eventually when you over level, if you over level things, should you be able to carry people? Depends on how you want to design the game. If you want to design it where there's no level smushing. How do I feel about the trust system in Final Fantasy XIV? Okay, great question. I think the trust system in Final Fantasy XIV is an imperfect solution to a problem from a decade ago. Where they built the problem. They built the problem that the player base now suffers from. They didn't mean to build the problem. They meant to build something fun. But let's be honest. If I'm level whatever now, 90, do I really want to run Sestasha where I lose 85, 90, 92.5% of my kit? And the answer is no. I don't really want to be in a situation where I lose that much of my kit. Running Sestasha is gross. But guess what? The new player who just started, they need Sestasha run. So then you said, well, we'll give people bonus XP if they do it. Well, what happened with that? People don't want to waste their leveling roulette leveling Sestasha. So then what they do? Then they made it so that mobs in dungeons don't really give XP anymore. They give a little bit. So here comes an end to my rock climbing adventure. So basically what you've done is you're trying really hard to make an MMORPG that people are going to enjoy, but you've ultimately made an MMORPG that requires me to have a babysitter. If you want to do everything solo, go play an RPG. Don't handicap an MMO. I don't like people, so I don't want to play alone. And I agree with you there. And that's where I say game development companies need to know their target audience. And they need to know their target audience and not try to take every slice of the pizza. Focus on, we only want the 2 slices of pizza that have pepperoni on it. We're not trying to build a game for everybody. We're trying to build a game for people that like pepperoni. If I was making an MMORPG, you all know that some of you wouldn't like it, because if we're using the pizza analogy, there'd be pineapple and chicken and barbecue sauce on that thing. And you'd be like, I'm never going to eat that. And I'd say, good, you're not the target audience. I think Chrono has a decent balance for solo group. I can't really say yet, but what I can say is I like the way the world plays. I like the way the world plays. I like the fact that I'm not on rails. I like the fact that, like, I know I have failed at that dungeon. I don't need to be told I failed at it. I know I failed at it. I like the fact, like you just saw, my goal was to see if I could climb that mountain. Now I want to see if I can swim around. Like, yeah, I could go up the wood steps and I could go around the mountain. I want to do that. I want to explore the world. And I'm sorry if I say this and I offend any Ashes of Creation fans. Chrono Odyssey is doing what Ashes of Creation wanted to do. They're just doing it, and they're doing it on time. They're doing it. They're launching next quarter. Now, some people, on time is wild, right? Yes, Kakao Games did have some delays in their projects. Yeah, imagine actually releasing a project. Radical development behavior. The trick is, yeah, we all die. We all die. Aliens invade the world, and we all die before a game can release. But like, Kakao Games had some restructuring to do. Kakao Games has this coming out and Arc Age Chronicles coming out. And they tried to do that Arc World nonsense, and I think that they got their teeth kicked in by it, and they were like, oh shit. Pearl Abyss is selling off EVE Online. Selling off EVE Online's company, CCP. Because they forced CCP to... Oh. Was that the big no? Oh, you said death incoming. I didn't see it soon enough. Next quarter, from what we were seeing in this beta, is a little bit of a worry, isn't it? Well, it would depend. Which part of it do you think is a worry? Some of the server performance? Sure. Too long in the water. Oh, okay. If the combat is... If what you're seeing with the combat is your concern, then sure. Well, who tests server stability with 100 plus servers per region? That's an interesting question. Let me look up a fact for you real quick. I would say that the company that is testing their server stability, where they had 65,752 people test yesterday. When you say who tests server stability with 100 servers per region, that's an easy answer. Part of that easy answer is you're assuming that all of their servers are configured identical, and so you think that they're testing 100, and I don't think they have 100. Yesterday they had, and they may have added more. I wasn't aware they had 100 per region. I thought they had approximately 50 per region. Also, yeah, it's a lot. It's like 50, but you're assuming that all 50 servers are identical copies of each other with identical configurations to each other. They very well could have 1 through 10 are configured this way. 10 through 20 are configured this way. And they're looking at, or very, very realistically, 1 is configured this way, and every one of 1 is figured that way. So 1, 11, 21, 31, 41, and 51 are all configured this way. Because if you do 1 through 10, those are the ones that are likely to get saturated. We don't know what they're testing. We don't know how they're testing. That would be smart, but also lock classes for this beta. Okay, the locked classes for the beta is a bad idea for two reasons. The first reason why locked classes for the beta is a bad idea is because in the next test now, they're going to get disproportional assignment data from the fact that people are going to want to test the two classes they weren't able to. And it's not like this is well, you're just guessing. Is it 3? Which is the other one that's locked? I saw that Assassin was locked, Sorcerer was locked. What's the third one? Paladin, Assassin. Oh, I didn't realize Paladin was locked. So yeah, that's a bad idea then. They should just launch with only the ones available now and not announce the lock ones just to keep things more grounded and temper expectations. No, they absolutely shouldn't, because you don't launch with 3 classes. You also don't launch a game, and if you have 3 more classes to go and you can't change your main class, then you don't launch a game where you're ultimately telling, yeah, they only have 3 classes. They have Ranger. No, they have. There's only 6 total. There's 6 total classes. There's 6 total classes, 18 weapons. Classes can switch between 3 weapons. Now there is some. They could have done things more better, and I do need to switch this to have the UI on all the time. I gotta go into settings as soon as I'm not somewhere that I'm gonna get my ass munched on. I understand that they might want to keep some things for the next round of hype building, and that's fine. But data has to be gathered in a representational way. And if you're going to have 6 classes and you only test 3 during the first big closed beta test, then that means people are going to do Ranger, Warrior, Berserk this testing cycle. And then next testing cycle, the people that were in this one are all going to gravitate towards the 3 they didn't get to test. So my biggest concern is the time frame in which they're saying they will launch with this product next quarter. Or where are we? We're still in quarter 2. So this year. The goal is quarter 3 or quarter 4. But it's launching this year. Because they don't want this game to walk on top of Arcade, which is launching next year. Like, what can you do to make sure your launch is good with everything in this game currently in 6 months? Well, again, stop. What's not... To say what can you do to make sure your launch is good, what's not good right now? They're having some server instability. Absolutely. But that doesn't take 6 months to fix. It doesn't take 6 months to fix server instability. Those are small tweaks. Do the servers run mostly good? Yeah, the servers run mostly good. They have to make some tweaks. They have to, a wedge here, a turn here. They have some little things to work on. It's not like their servers aren't crashing. It's not like they have the big thing where, the performance sucks. I would disagree with you. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say realistically that you can say the performance sucks. What about the performance sucks? Like, if you say the performance sucks, what specifically? Because so far, I've seen 60 frames per second solid. I've seen some misbehaving AI assets. I saw a guy in the floor. There's some issues with the lighting, which, if this is Unreal Engine 5, it could be someone fucked up Lumen, or it could be somebody fucked up a heat map. But I don't see performance issues. Like right now in town, I'm at 49 frames per second. Okay, so on a 3060 with mid settings, had 45 frames per second. On low was bouncing 80 to 40. On a 4080 right now, I'm on 50 frames per second. You also have to remember, if they're planning on a global launch, they may be worried about getting 60 frames per second as their threshold, and then they'll tweak after that. You also have to remember, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't this their first big test? Server issues, environmental classes not being tested, or enough balancing. Some other systems in their development. Well, right, and then I will 100% agree with you. If you have, well, this isn't even open. This is closed. This is closed testing. You can't get in unless you get invited. Now, it's not paid to get in. It's not paid in, but it is closed. They don't have a million people trying to beat down the door. It's closed with no NDA. Right. I gotta go back to where I was. I didn't get enough leather bits. I'm gonna go down there. I think it's absolutely fair to say if they were launching tomorrow or next week or even next month, we might be in some problem. I will say it is going to be difficult for them to balance. And what Kuro said is, balance is so important. And right now, they have a small imbalance, and I wish that I had access to the other classes, because I would have run a character to 5. I would have run all 6 characters to 5. As I said, I found iron a lot faster than I found the leather that I needed. Now that could be because I only had gathering of I only had butchery of level 1. Now when I find some animals and I try butchering them, am I gonna get what I need? And the answer is I hope so. So while we're in the wilds now, that's a good looking pool of water. I'm gonna see if I'm getting the bits and bobs I need. You should never have one class that can progress faster. I also am gonna say, without access to mage, it is really, really difficult to gauge the effectiveness of range classes. I can gauge the effectiveness of ranger, and until you have people that are max level and can play with all sorts of different builds, it's going to be difficult to put into how is this playing. But let's also be honest about something, a problem we have with many Korean games. Many Korean games favor melee classes. Balance isn't always something in Korean games that is even a possibility of a reality. Gathering crafting is a big concern. Being level 15, having early access to gather mats to craft level 40 items kind of sucks. I always thought they favored mages for overall damage. At endgame, for AoE damage, yes. But for one-on-one, it's usually melee because they get into that whole stun lock control, stun lock control, stun lock control. You're dead. You're absolutely right. Mages for group combat, melee for individual, for one-on-ones, and then the archers get forgotten about. I will say having the ability to pre-gather to level 40 is bad. Because then it means that you don't have a meaningful artisan system. But I'll also say right now, I don't think they have a meaningful artisan system, and I'm about to find out. I'm going to try to kill some... wolves, and now I'm going to see if I can get scaly or full rawhide, not thin rawhide. I need rawhide, not thin. So yeah, thin rawhide. So I imagine I have to find the next tier up of mobs in order to get what I need to make my new bow. But at this point, I feel at level 9, I've in earnest been trying to make my level 5 bow, and now I'm about to be level 10. So that's a place where you might find lack of reward. Where is... hide HUD when non-combat? Also, the lock on is really weird. Could end up like Arcade, you get maxed out level with access to more crafting mats for your lobies and pass the gear around. When you equip stuff, it tells you that it's going to be bound. Although I didn't look to see if it's going to be bound. I saw it was going to be bound. I didn't read the rest of it. I believe there's a character warehouse as well as an account warehouse. Did Yuba just eat the other mob? No, Yuba, I do not want to play with you. I am not. I am not interested in playing with the big spider right now. Every time I see something in Chrono Odyssey, it makes me think Ashes of Creation showed off something like that. Ashes of Creation showed off a big spider in the forest. What does Chrono Odyssey have? It has a big spider in the forest. Okay, are you gonna give me what I need? I don't think you will. Thin rawhide. That guy should be easy for range. All his attacks are... Yeah, all his attacks are close ones, except where he scoot boogies across the whole damn map. I was in range because I had the little blue icon. Yeah, I had to have been in range because I got gear. I don't know what was going on. Yeah, I had the little bluish icon looking thing. Come on, man. We know this is a door. How do I feel about the vigor system? Okay. Because I haven't seen Sorcerer, I haven't seen Mage, I haven't seen Assassin. Archers have arrows that we use when we're aiming, and then we use Vigor, and then we use Stamina. Resource management is important. And I know that warriors want to have rage, and rogues want to have energy, and warriors and rogues don't want to have mana, because I'm not a caster. But the truth is, as I've demonstrated on the show, when you have 3 different systems, when you have a rage system, an energy system, and a mana system, and one of those 3 classes starts talking about how their skills are underpowered, or the other guy is overpowered, or I don't think it's fair, or whatever have you. The truth is, you never know what the problem is, because you can't know what the problem is, because it could very well be an issue of resource management, not an issue of damage. And the example I gave on that in the past was, you have a warrior chasing a rogue. I'm sorry, you have a warrior chasing a ranger. And the warrior says, I don't do enough damage because I lose 95% of the time to rangers. Well, you're not losing to the ranger because you don't do enough damage. You're losing to the ranger because he's kiting your ass and you can't build any rage. Well, even before that, I want to test all melee damage against each other at a base and then game level. Well, yeah, you need to see what the ability... I mean, you're not going to have to test it, though. They're nice about how they do their skill tree. They tell you exactly what percentage of the damage each ability does. You want to test basic attacks and stuff. Yeah, and that's a good thing to do. Test the basic attacks to see if they're actually doing the damage that they should be. I don't like when game companies don't give the damage formula, because game companies are like, well, it's doing this, and we're like, no, it's not. Once Human is a great example of this. Because we don't have the full damage formulas, we have most of the damage formula. Some of the things going on are ridiculous. You're just like, this isn't working. I always think it's important to test and know what's going on. Like, for example, if you remember, ArcAge, before the change, if you stacked block, parry, and evasion in excess of 100%, you were fully immune to frontal-facing attacks. And people were like, no way, that's not how it works. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how it works. And then I remember the day that Quilladon came out and said, yes, that's exactly how it works. And people were like, that's so stupid. Yeah, it's so stupid. But you know, instead of you arguing with the guy that exhaustively tested it for weeks at a time, trying to figure out why is this the way this is, you were like, no, that's not right. You were taking away credibility. If you had instead said, hey, let me see your numbers. You recently found out the PvP damage formula in BDO. Oh, did you recently find out that in BDO, BDO has RNG waterfall stats? Is that what you found out that made you mad? That for all these years, people have been touting BDO? Not just that, but you found that out too? Yeah, people have been touting for years and years and years how tab target is terrible. Because tab target is all about dice rolls and luck. BDO has waterfall stats inside of their PvP. So their game's not even all action combat. It's like evasion and accuracy jammed in there together. You hate games right now? No, I understand. You know what the rough part is? All the terrible things that are in games are the result of players. What players want. It's what a very vocal minority of players want. It was like a long time ago in a land far away, when I was a young man, I played Magic the Gathering. And I had a Magic the Gathering deck that most people absolutely hated. It, on the 4th turn, had an 8/8 with trample. And it was almost every time I would have that on the 4th turn. An 8/8 with trample on the 4th turn is a ridiculous card in 3rd gen. Because we didn't have all these 19 card combos. Then people were like, I won't play that. Non-landfall. Non-landfall. 3rd ed. Fallen Empires was the expansion. I didn't need anything out of Fallen Empires. But every single card in my deck was either a land, an elf that gave me the ability to find other elves in my deck, or elves that gave me mana. And remember, I will say 4 cards out of... I needed 4 cards in the deck out of Fallen Empires. It was the Llanowar Elves Fallen Empire version, which by tournament rules, you can play because it's not a Llanowar Elf. It's not a 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th copy of the same card. When this elf comes into play, bring 3 elves from your deck into play. Well, I have 4 of those. Look through your deck and find any creature that has a combined power and toughness above 8. Well, I will take my 8/8 force of nature with trample. Get fucked. when people stop wanting to play that deck. 4 lures, 4 thickest basilisks. Doesn't matter how many creatures you put on. I attack you with a basilisk. I throw a lure on it. Every one of your creatures has to attack it. By the way, any creature blocked or blocking a basilisk at the end of the turn is removed from play. And so, what happened? People started saying, we need changes, we need this, we need that, we need the other. No, what you needed was fucking common sense. What you needed was for people to not be able to build like that. Arcage, great example. We can't kill... Yeah, it was blue players. Arcage, Dark Runners, I can't kill clerics. Okay? You need to nerf clerics. What happened to Arcage's population when they made that wonderful decision to nerf clerics self-healing by 30%? I swear on my soul, when 6.5 came out, the day before, I had more than 20 healers in a Crimson Rift. I had 1 healer per party, and then I had some extras. The next day, when that 30% nerf came out, I was healing, and I was lucky to get 1 other healer for the other raid for Crimson Rift. Because they decided that because melee players were whiny, they were going to nerf healers' ability to self-heal by 30%. They couldn't play melee right. They expected to run full obsidian with the KR Leecher runner build and expect to two-shot anyone. Melee died. No, Melee didn't die in that game after 3.5. Not at all. Melee died for a little bit with the Dark Runner nerfs, and then when they undid the Dark Runner nerfs, Dark Runners killed most people. But that was also the game where somebody translated a video, and then they said the hard cap on toughness is 4,200. And I was running over 5,000 toughness because I knew where the caps were. I knew where diminishing returns kicked in. And people are like, you're running too much toughness. Yeah? Then why is it you can't kill me? If I'm supposedly suffering from all these diminishing returns, it's because 4,200 was 4,200 was the maximum amount of toughness that you could get before capes and before customizable armor. It was able to build how you want to customize and not fall. Oh yeah, and I agree with what you're saying. Like, some people that were running melee were running, decent looking builds. But the truth is, why would anybody want to run a build other than Shadow Step, Shadow Smite, triple slash, you're dead? Who builds stupid shit like that? Who builds literally? Oh yeah, you killed it. You didn't mean melee died. You meant meaningful melee died. Wanting to play it because it had any level of skill died. Yeah, which recommended equipment score 15. Your equipment score 3. Absolutely. Wanting to play that game or wanting to play melee after that point was a lot like wanting to play Scholar in Final Fantasy XIV once they decided their improvement for Scholar was that you wouldn't have to do any manual management of your fairy. Your fairy would simply act independently and be a heal bot. That's all your fairy did. They took away any reason to run Eos or any reason to run Selene over Eos, It was literally, here's one fairy, and it's just going to throw out heals. What's the point? Yeah, and see, I built my cleric. I was one of the infinite unkillable clerics. When I'm taking 10 plus people for almost a minute, there is something wrong with your game when one person can tank 10 plus people and still be getting kills. I'm a healer. I'm tanking 10 plus people and I'm picking up kills. No, that I will be the first to say that's broken shit. That's broken and it needs to get fixed. It needs to get nerfed. But don't come to me and say we're gonna nerf healers while you still have this ridiculousness. That is Dark Runners available. Like don't even tell me unkillable clerics are the problem when you have a Dark Runner. But you know who's to blame for Arcade? All the players. Because we kept playing it hoping that it was going to get better. We knew. In fact, I have that Arcade advertisement meme video that I made when they announced the fresh start. And I said, you know what? We know it's an abusive relationship. We know it. We know we're gonna get boned. We know you're gonna get fucked in the ass about it. I think a lot of games spend too much time focusing on classes when balancing, and they don't address the problems in the system overall. Well, what problems in the system overall are you referencing? Because there are some that I'd agree with you. Big picture things that if you address the big picture things, the class specific things wouldn't be a big deal. Which is what, to keep it on Chrono Odyssey as much as we can, that's something that I'm interested in finding out. How is Chrono Odyssey going to address it? Time to kill is a big one. Yes, time to kill is absolutely a big one. Time to kill needs to be at least a minute. And if it's not at least a minute, you have absolutely zero counterplay. If I'm dead before I can respond, then everybody's just going to play whichever class kills the fastest. Or whichever class dies the slowest. Remember that ridiculousness that was, what was it? Doombringer or Shadow Knight, which it was basically defense, occultism, and oromancy. And people played it, not because it was great. Templar was another one, Ardent was another one, but Blighter was another one. But there was just that one that was ridiculous in 6.5, and it was defense and occultism and oromancy. Health lift. Yeah, if it was Doombringer, I don't remember which one it was, but health lift and then the defensive ability and then absorb life force, and I'm healing off of 5 targets. Dreambreaker was so stupid. Another one that was stupid was oh Jesus, Jester. Before in 0.8, before they did the separation of healing power and magic power, sorcery, occultism, vitalism. Yeah. Which is why I'm hoping, as sad as it is to say, that's why I put so much hope into Ashes of Creation. I had put so much hope into Ashes of Creation because I hoped that it would change the genre. But now I've come to the conclusion if Ashes of Creation launches, and now based on things that I've seen lately, my statement is if it launches. I no longer subscribe to the idea of when it launches. I really do subscribe to the idea of if it launches. I don't think Ashes of Creation is gonna be anything more than basically an empty, broken shell of a game. I don't think that it's gonna have like an amazing impact on MMORPGs overall. And I say that because I think they're going to struggle just to get the game out. Just to launch. Wow, those guys just absolutely... What worries me the most on Ashes? What worries me the most on Ashes is they can't get anything done and anything dialed in and anything set up on the shelf and said, you know what? This is ready to go. They don't have anything that's 100% ready. And then I'm gonna show it because I think it's important contextually about why I'm worried. Let me grab this real quick. So, what was said would you say it's understandable that a person can be surprised by the fact that a system shown 1.5 years ago having XYZ feature actually only has X feature on release after another 1.5 years of it, and the mind of a person progress on it? And his response is, that is also not how development works. And Steven's response to, would a person be surprised, was to say, of course, just how a person who doesn't understand how electricity works might assume a light bulb is magic doesn't make them correct. Well, here, that right there, that right there is why I've lost faith in Ashes of Creation, because there is no reason to there is no reason to have that statement. Yeah, that's a slimy ass response. And the reason why I say that is, and Karthos will tell you, he was there. One of their community managers was having a go at Karthos about Karthos being ignorant to marketing. Now, Karthos is my friend. If I ever end up where he's from, I'll buy him a beer. I'll buy him a beer. I'll drink a root beer. So that's my friend. And you're going after my fucking friend with your bullshit? So when I jumped in the conversation and I started slapping Roshan around left, right, and fucking center with marketing terms and marketing concepts, he ran away from the conversation. He just stopped responding. Right? He just stopped responding because he knew he had stepped in it. And it's like I said in the reply to the creator that posted those tweets. When I was part of the Ashes of Creation community and it was like really becoming an unhealthy obsession, Margaret Crone showed up on day one of her job, and I know she's been there for like 5 years now. She talked shit to a person with 20 years of marketing experience. She also talked shit to a person who did her job at a company 20 times the size of Intrepid. And you're gonna talk shit? Like, you don't even have a degree in marketing and you were the community marketing lead. You want to say shit like, we're gonna do updates every week, and then you go weeks without an update. And then you get called out and you say, well, it's not fair to hold us to, it's not fair to hold you to what expectation? You put the expectation out there. I keep forgetting not everyone knows him as the Arcage player he was. So what I will say is his Arcage history has come up a couple of times. Golden Turkey Bollocks. Well then, I don't think a person's history as a player has any impact on a person's credibility as a developer. And I'll say it that way. I played on a server at launch. Oh, that right there is why I think Steven doesn't want real feedback. He wants his dick stroked. That question was actual feedback and he pretty much wiped his ass with it. He played on his server at launch and actually really liked him. His guild wasn't really anything but whales and he was the king of pay to win. But as a person and a player in the game, I really thought he was awesome. Kind of like saying, oh, I didn't mean to say that when I was drunk. No, it's not, I didn't mean to say that when I was drunk, because that's a different type of situation. For example, you hear me shit talking in EVE Online, but then the next day you happen to recognize my voice and I'm your commanding officer in the military. Just because I'm a human being who has a hobby, who shit talks and uses profanity in my personal life, doesn't mean that I'm automatically a shitbird officer. I'm playing a video game and I'm unwinding. I don't think it's always fair to take how somebody behaves in their personal life and assume that that's a one-for-one correlation to their professional life. Are there certain things? Sure. Oh, you can say you're saying you can see the real person more when you interact with them. No, absolutely. Now, are there some things that you don't get a pass on? Absolutely. If you're a misogynistic pig in TeamSpeak, don't even think I'm going to believe that you're not a sexual discriminator at your job, because certain things transfer over. But if you're a whale as a player, that doesn't automatically mean that you're going to design a pay-to-win game. With that said, yeah, the stuff that does transfer, then we're on the same page. With that said, it is very, and Steven did suffer from this. Steven was the king of the whales on his server. So is it hard for some people to believe that he's going to make a non-pay-to-win game when he's such a whale? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But when you basically say people that don't understand might think a light bulb is magic, that's like that level of, oh my god, I'm not paying attention to my health bar. That's that level of narcissism that people aren't going to like you. And when legitimately the only thing you had going for your company was that people liked you. And you shit on that. Well, you better have a plan B there, Bubba, because you shit on people's goodwill and cheer. You may very quickly find you have 1,000 players on your game, and you already have tester problems. How I see it, Steven is competitive. He likes to win. He's going to play the game to win, and that is pay to win. He's going to do it. Doesn't mean he's going to do that in every game, especially when how you win these other games doesn't require you to pay. Right, exactly. If there's pay to win to be had and you're competitive and you have the money, then have at it. But when there's no pay to win, you're still competitive. That's the shit you say you want to check if you have any loose teeth. Yeah. Also true. But it was like, I've seen Steve, what was the MMO, the MOBA he played? On? I've seen him play that, and he's fairly competitive. He's fairly aggressive when he plays. You know, there's no pay to win there. There's nothing wrong with pay to win. Kind of. Kind of. There's nothing wrong with it. Kind of. Are you with the Vanguard? We've been getting antsy. None of our messengers return. All right. So far, this is a really big map. So far, I would say that this has all the best parts of Dragon's Dogma. But none of the bad. It has all the best and none of the bad. This is so far a fairly good game. Fairly good. I will go back to the point of I haven't found what I need to even make my other bow. Why does it sound like your audio has been bugged for a while? I don't know. Ain't a whole lot I can do with the like I'm constantly drawing my bow. Well, that's easy. What I'm gonna do is reload the game. Half the time I can't hear the game anyway. Oh yeah, where the fuck is the logout button? Where the motherfuck is the logout button? I'm serious. Where is it? Settings? Who the fuck puts it there? Oh my god. Other day when I was streaming, I was like, where I had to go yesterday because I had things to do. And I was just like, fuck it. Alt F4 it is, man. Alt F4 for the win. Yeah, and there's where your stuck is. Your stuck is in that menu as well. So. From Chrono Studio.
Thus did hubris swallow me whole.
But does it not like that I logged out? Failed to connect to the server. Check the server status. Yeah, I logged out. I logged out and I broke the game. Hotel California syndrome. Man, don't even start me with Hotel California syndrome. That was my basic training flight. I was in Hotel California, and every Saturday they played that fucking song for like 6 straight hours. 6 straight fucking hours. Until everybody's details were done. Until every flight's details were done. The only way you could escape Hotel California on repeat was to go do extra PT. That was the only way. All day. Painting handrails, painting doors, painting walls, shining the stainless steel on the floor. Yeah, PT sounded really nice. You want me to listen to this shit or go run? I'll go run. I was okay with that. I will go run my ass off. So this kind of feels like Dungeons and Dragons. And what I mean by that is in D&D, you're not supposed to take hits. You're really in D&D isn't really designed for you to take hits. It's you don't have a lot of hit points. This really reminds me of that. Like you're supposed to really very much so avoid being hit. And it's like somebody said the other day, they were like, it's the epitome of a Dark Souls game. It's like your hit points are not there for you to soak damage. Your hit points are there for when you mess up a dodge. And I really do kind of agree with that. Solo dungeon. But I don't have enough gear score. I can't go in. Like I said, man, I've never gotten I never got the other thing I needed in order to make my Oh my god. The trailer and the gameplay presentations don't look like this. Yeah, unfortunately, they did not do a great job of showing off the soul of this game to people early. And I think in some ways, that was a good strategy. As I said in the article that I wrote, a big part of the problem with hype is that hype is never gonna live up to expectations. And for example, a game that has been completely overhyped is Ashes of Creation, where I feel really terrible for that development studio. There is no way that they can deliver a game that can meet the player's expectations. Now, in some ways, they brought that on themselves. Because in some ways, they promised a game that was going to do your taxes for you and add 4 inches to your dick. I mean, they were promising you everything in the kitchen sink. But they allowed the players to run with it. And they never corrected the players and said, hey, let's keep expectations realistic. It's weird. Watching you play has me interested. The trailers made the gameplay look insanely action-centric and fast. Your gameplay looks very weighted and slower and meticulous. Let me say this when it comes to action combat. Do not ever assume that my playing an action combat game is giving the game a fair representation of what it has to offer. I am not a good role model for action combat games. I have debilitating spinal damage. My left hand does whatever the hell it wants, and I have neuropathy in my left hand. I am not the showcase person for action combat. Tab combat, I still got it. Tab combat, I still got it. Action combat, no way. Crossbow is faster. Yes, crossbow is faster, but I'm gonna say this about crossbow. Crossbow, to me, with the limited range on crossbow, feels like I'm playing dual wield dagger or dual wield throwing knife. It does not feel as if I'm using crossbows. It feels as if I'm using throwing knives. The range is too short. The last time I checked, hand crossbows didn't have a range of like 8 feet. I understand why they did it. I do get it. But instead, they should have done, for Ranger, they should have done longbow, crossbow. Is this where Ash's promised crossbow went? Well, I mean, this is where Ash's sand scorpion went in their forest spider. So very well may be. Chrono Odyssey may have looked at Ashes of Creation and said, these guys have good ideas. We're taking them all. They're not going to launch anytime this decade. This looks really cool. The trailers and gameplay. Oh, that's where I worked as a coder on MMORPGs most of my career, and I prefer MMOs with tab target for technical reasons. The amount of compensation to convey action combat is a nightmare most times. So what I'll say is, I'll say this. I want action players to get a game that's good. And I wanted that to be New World. I'm not against there being an action combat MMO. As you can see, I'm not good at the game. I don't give a shit. I'm not good at it. I'm just here to, I'm here to hang out. I'm here to see the good things in the world development. I kind of like the artisan system in some ways. I kind of hate the artisan system in other ways. And I really don't like the artisan system in a few other ways. I really don't like the fact that I can't seemingly get the mats I need to make the bow I need, and now I'm level 10 and a third, and I don't think I have the mats to make my bow, but I've killed and skinned the things that I can kill with the bow that I have access to. I could run around and kill more stuff with my sword, but then I have to ask, why was I able to upgrade my sword, but upgrading my bow was such a pain in the ass? And that's fine. I have no problem talking about those features of a game. I want action players to have a game. Because then when action players have a game, they'll stay out of tab target games and stop trying to make tab target games be action centric. Yeah, I'm not getting the things that I need to make leather. I'm only getting thin rawhide. I'm not getting scaly hide or the full rawhide. I have friends that prefer action combat, and many of them were leaning heavily on New World. Many are looking forward to Ashes of Creation, but you share my opinions on the game. Ashes of Creation is probably never going to launch. So 2 o'clock. Oh, there's maintenance in like 8 minutes. Of course there is, because that would be par for the course, right? Ashes of Creation is probably never going to launch, and the reason why I say that is they can't even hit their development goals for Alpha 2 Phase 3. And then you saw Steven's condescending response when somebody said, well, isn't it realistic for somebody to have concerns because an XYZ feature a year and a half later is only the X? Well, let's look at that. If you have XYZ feature that you talked about a year and a half ago, and in a year and a half, you only developed the X part of the XYZ feature, it is a completely realistic expectation that it's going to take 3 more years for you to do Y and Z. And the reason why it's a completely realistic expectation is because you haven't said anything other. You haven't said that the long pole in the tent was getting this done. Like, for example, and I know people get mad at me when I liken it to construction, but the reason why I liken it to construction is there's a lot of parallels in project management. When I dig the hole, and then it rains. If it rains a little bit, I can dry up the hole. If it rains a lot, there ain't shit I can do until the water's gone. Which is why, generally, you dig the hole and you put the concrete in the hole as quickly as you can, because while the concrete is in between the mold, it's not a mold, it's the framing, all you have to do is cover the top of it. It's really easy to cover the top of concrete. It's not easy to dry up a hole. But then when people are like, well, you poured the concrete on Friday, it's Tuesday, why isn't anybody there working? 14 days curing time. We're not going to do anything to that property for 2 weeks. Well, you're falling behind. How the fuck do you figure I'm falling behind? And when somebody says stuff like that, they don't know. How come scaffold and drainage isn't more prevalent to reduce the impact of weather? Cost? Well, yeah. Like, you dig a hole. You don't dig a hole like if the forecast, like putting up a tent, it's a hole in the ground, man. Where the fuck do you think water runs off to if there's a big ass hole in the ground? Water goes into the fucking hole. You'd have to tent fucking you'd have to tent hundreds of feet in every direction. Because it's not just covering the hole. Water lands on the earth, goes through the earth, and falls into the hole because the hole is the path of least resistance. Once you have the foundation dropped, then putting a tent up over what's poured is easy. Just plastic. Because if you plastic edge to edge, the water should be on the other side of the frame. And if the water's not on the other side of the frame, it's letting you know that you have a really big problem with your foundation. But when people are like, you dug the hole. Yeah, I dug the hole and then it fucking rained. Why didn't you dig the hole when it was dry? Because we had a really cold fucking winter and it would have cost us 3 times as much to dig through frozen ground. So we got the hole dug and then it rained and now we have to wait for the fucking hole to dry up. Any other questions? And when somebody has those questions, I'm cool with that. But when you say we had XYZ project component, it's been 1.5 years and you're only done with X, don't make fun of the guy. Don't be condescending to the guy that says, well, my realistic expectation is that it's going to take you 3 more years. The guy doesn't think a light bulb is magic in that regard. And then when you want to be a condescending fuckhole, understand that people with way more project management experience than you are going to come along and shit all over you. Not because they want to, but because you're being a fuckhole. Don't be that way. Yeah, Rail, here's the problem. No matter how many things I kill, I've only gotten 4 rawhide and I've gotten 1 scaled leather. I'm not getting the bits and bobs that I need in order to make the 1 piece of leather I need. Because now I have 4 rawhide and 1 scaled. I have a fuck ton of everything, but I don't have what I need to make my bow still. Now I'm gonna actually look. I'm actually going to take a look. I'm gonna see what is it if I'm gonna. Can I skip the level 5 bow altogether and just make the level 10 bow? Have I been east of the town? I've been. Oh, there's only a level 15 bow. There's no level 10 bow. So yeah, I don't have the 1 piece of leather. But I could make the staff, or I could make the lance, or I could make the chain blades, or I could make the saber, or the wrist blades, or the musket, or the twin axes, or the battle axe, or the halberd, or the mace, or the manosphere. I probably could make the grimoire. So this is the piece I was talking about. They have made a very large mistake when it comes to balance. I can make 16 out of the 18 weapons, but I can't make the Ranger's primary weapon. And as you've seen, I have tried to kill every animal, every piece of wildlife I've come across. I have 4 of 5 of one and 1 of 2 of the other. And I'm sure the servers are going to come down here in a minute. Because it was... Yeah. Oh, there we go. So, I would have to say the really, really big problem right now that I see with Chrono Odyssey is that 90 minutes. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna take and go and get some stuff done. Yeah, I need to head out to a higher level area. But here's the thing. I shouldn't have to, because I'm level 10 and I'm still trying to make my level 5 bow. Which means somebody who was in charge of, you know, the economist that should be overseeing how things drop. They said NA only, but shut all. Hey, nice. The economist or the artisan designer needs to step in and say, hey, we need to have these mobs over here drop this. Otherwise, people are going to be level 10 and still only have their level 1 bow. That's not a huge... It's not a game breaker. It's not a, oh my god, the sky is falling, it's fucking terrible. It's just something that they maybe not have seen. They maybe not have had a member of the team, actually, they should have, but they maybe not have had a member of the team run through. And so that would be my big piece of feedback from today. With that said, I'm going to get out of here. I got chores to do. I streamed a little over 2 hours early this morning. Try making a green butchery knife. I will try that. Depending on how tonight goes with getting stuff done, I might stream again tomorrow. I might not. It really all depends on how me fighting with my webpage goes. I will see you guys when they don't drop a random maintenance on me on a Saturday.